Hello, I am Steven, the calculator guy, and we're going to talk a little bit about Jade Protocol. Now, first and foremost, I would like to say they are not a sponsor. However, they did pay for me to make them a calculator that had access to the bonding versus staking mechanism. So I have been paid by them, but not to promote their project, and I will not promote their project, regardless of what I think about it as an investment opportunity. So I just want to get that out of the way. So full disclosure about my interactions with the Jade team. Actually, my interactions with the Jade team have always been really nice. SmarterCoin reached out, and I refused to do a video for them because I thought, a lot of my followers were new into DeFi and they wouldn't be able to get out fast enough and would lose a lot of money. So they reached out again for Jade Protocol, but this time just for a calculator, and I gladly accepted. So that's that. Anyways, Jade Protocol is still something to look at. I will not say it's a financially sound investment, but I will talk about the basics. So what's going on here is they're utilizing their incredible marketing budget to create more videos, which are pretty good. They talk about a lot of things that are definitely true about DeFi and the DeFi community and the DeFi landscape and how venture capitalists work and how YouTube shills work. And I appreciate all of that aspect of the video. They mention how VCs can get pre-sales and then they generally dump on the market almost immediately. That's absolutely true. They talk about how people on YouTube will utilize their fan base as exit liquidity, and I have seen that, where influencers will purchase a coin, then they'll talk about that coin, and then they will sell that coin after their following base has purchased that coin and increased the price. That's fucked. Excuse my, Swahili. But that doesn't mean this is a good protocol, right? I'm not saying it's a bad protocol. I refuse to do any financial advice. So it's a pretty cool video. I did watch the entire thing, I will admit that. And the things that I found most interesting are mostly the Fair Fork Foundation and a bit of their tokenomics, which I don't think are totally unique, but we will talk about them. So the Fair Fork Foundation, 3Fs, interesting. It essentially aims to create forks of the best known protocols. I wondered almost immediately if Ring was part of the Fair Fork Foundation. I don't think it was, but it would be interesting to see if the Fair Fork Foundation also created a strong block clone on the Binance Smart Chain. Then you'd have two strong block clones on the Binance Smart Chain, and I imagine that the Fair Fork Foundation, with all of their funding and backing, could potentially beat Ring, which is not FUD to Ring. Ring has done incredibly well. Despite me having no clue how they compare or compete with Strong Block and what their use case is and how they would be better anyway than Strong. Aside from just not having the ridiculous Ethereum gas that Strong Block has to experience. So I'm also interested to see what forks they choose. If they really are looking for the most successful Avalanche and Ethereum protocols and just forking those, I imagine we'll see something like an Aave clone or fork. We may see some borrowing, lending, money-making platforms, like maybe like a Mai clone. I've seen a few Mai clones. There's a Pi clone. There's a Mai clone called Pi on Solana. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one of those. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a yield aggregator done by the Fair Fork Foundation. So all of those things, to me, could be interesting because you're not going to get rugged. I think we know that by now. If Smart or Smarter or Jade or the Fair Fork, like if this conglomerate, which is a pretty big team with a lot of production value, was going to fork or was going to rug, they would have rugged by now. Now, please, I pray that I don't regret saying that. But generally speaking, I don't think that's what they're about. So they're gonna start pumping out forks, and I am more interested in those forks than I am in another Ohm clone. I will be completely honest. But let's talk about what does set this clone or fork apart from Ohm. But also, if you do watch the video, at one, I mean,
do you like?
It's an entertaining video. But at one point, they say there are no other legitimate forks of Ohm on the Binance Smart Chain, which is just throwing enormous amounts of shade at protocols like Gyro, which is, you know, it is what it is. So anyways, they say that their end goal is to sort of like move back to Avalanche. That's their home. That's where they want to be. That's the chain they like, which is throwing shade at Binance Smart Chains. They're really not making a lot of friends here, but they are saying things that are edgy, for sure. I think that's one of the things they're good at with their marketing, is they say things that are like, ooh, that's spicy, right? So their marketing is probably the best part about their protocols, which isn't to say their protocols are bad. I just think that their marketing is uniquely good. So it looks like that they're doing a Jade Pro, which means they will offer bonds as a service and the ability for protocols to own their own liquidity. We'll see if that precipitates. I believe a few Ohm forks have stated they're going to do this, and none of them have successfully done it yet, because it requires big protocols to partner up with you, which is not happening for most of these forks for what may be obvious reasons. But let's see if Jade's any different. One of the things that they do is they're committing 10% of their treasury, which is now roughly 2.1 million. It's 21 million, 10% would be 2.1 million, to buybacks and token burns. Now, I think we've seen a few other forks that have done buybacks and token burns, and there are many different theses about this and ideas. Some people say that if these are scheduled, they can be used as extra liquidity for large holders, and that's not really good. That's sort of the opposite of what we want to happen. You know, if they're random and sporadic and there's no insider information, or if it's algorithmically designed and no one can figure it out, maybe it would be good. But if it's consistent and scheduled, I imagine people would utilize that as extra liquidity, and it may not produce the positive effect that they want. So let's just look at some of their bond opportunities, right? The APY right now is 4 million%, which, you know, I am quickly learning that the more opinions I have, the more I will be slapped by reality. So I will tell you the facts. The APY is roughly 4 million. If we compare that to the bonds, let's see what happens. So we have a bond at 8.92%. So let's go over here. Say the bond is 8.92%. I think on Binance you're probably going to be paying like 20 cents for all that. The staking 5-day is currently 15.57%, so you're actually doing better with the bond there. So right now, a bond at 8.92% is better than staking for 15%, but that is considering that you are claiming to stake before each rebase, somewhat close to each rebase, which is really hard. It's really hard to do. You're probably going to miss 1 or 2 rebases now and again. If you have a job, you're definitely going to miss a rebase here and again. If you have to sleep, you're probably going to miss a rebase. So as useful as this calculator is, unless you're really good at waking up in the middle of the night, claiming to stake, then you may miss a rebase here or there, which is going to, depending on which rebase you miss, is going to affect your overall bag. Okay, so final thoughts. Let's look at the chart really quickly. Here's the chart. It is what it is. You can see it goes up dramatically on the first day, on launch day, from like $2, maybe from like $1, from like $1 to all the way up to $1,000. So it's 1,000x for the wonderfully lucky robots that were able to get prices down here, and then a dump almost down to the exact same level. So, you know, this is what bots do. I imagine it was bots who did that. And then, you know, we finally have humans entering the scene around here. People who played in this region here, you know, that's playing with fire. But good for them, right? They're the warrior investors who fear no dump. Anyways, there is no meaningful TA I can do on a 4-day-old chart. So this is just the chart. It is what it is. I hope that you look at charts before you ape into something, or before you invest, because it at least gives you an idea of what's going on to some extent, or at least you have more information than you did before. And generally speaking, more information is better. So there's the chart. Here is the site. Here is the calculator. They did pay for the bonding and staking, so that is available now. There you go. Feel free to use this now and thank them for that. The bonds are what they are. The charts are what they are. If you want to look at the documents, by all means, you can look at the docs. I have found myself liking docs more and more. The Fair Fork Foundation, as I've said, is the most interesting part of this, but we have to see how many other forks they pop out. Them starting with an Ohm fork is not surprising at all because there are so many Ohm forks popping up. I will have much more faith in the Fair Fork Foundation after they do a fork that isn't Ohm. Once they prove that they weren't just like, phase 10 is actually the end, we just wanted to do a reserve currency because it's a moneymaker right now, and that's it. If they prove they can do another fork of a successful project and do it well, then this will be a DAO to be interested in. This will be a group to follow, and I think it'll be doing really interesting things, especially if they maintain their marketing momentum. But until we see another really successful fork, I'm going to, remain hesitant and I will play this safely. Just so you know that I am not doing what those influencers do, you can see I have no Jade bought, I have no Jade staked. I do not plan on pumping and dumping this coin for anyone. I hope that I didn't come off as shilling this coin. I hope I didn't come off as spreading FUD about this coin or protocol. That was not the intention. I just wanted to expose you guys to the coin and to the calculator that I made for the protocol. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet them at me. If you want to support my channel, by all means, please join the Patreon. We do some fun things over there. I attempt to curate some good resources. I attempt to collect and compile good resources. I still won't give meaningful financial advice because that's just not the way the markets work. No matter how much you trust or believe in a coin and the tokenomics of a coin, the moment you give financial advice is the moment you'll start regretting it. So, good luck and invest intelligently. Thank you so much for watching.